building pathways to leadership and personal growth through strategic mentorship and perseverance.
I prefer to spend my time uh, in student services and if not there, really consulting full time.
Okay.
And helping professionals, especially mid-level managers, understand the game and how to actually get promoted. That's really my area,
Okay.
and helping professionals close what I call the execution gap. And the execution gap, Kamal, is the distance between what you want and what you get. It's the distance between what you execute occasionally
Mm-hmm.
and what you execute on a daily basis. That's how
Okay.
you close that gap. People trying to get from A to B, but they don't realize there's some work in here. It doesn't just happen.
It all just happened.
Doesn't just happen, brother. You got There's some work that has to be done.
Hundred
If you
percent.
if you if you find me, I'm all over social media, but if you find me, you can go to Instagram, LinkedIn, see a lot of the videos that I post. A lot of that stuff hones in on a lot of those key areas.
Okay.
And this system that I use and that I promote and that I use as I'm working with clients. This system, man, will help if they will use it. It will help you get from A to B. There's no question about it, because I've done it and I continue to do it.
Okay.
I continue to do it. But relentless consistency, man, is built off of 4 pillars. Okay. So pillar number 1, Kamal, is the process is the prize.
100%.
There's a quote that says, don't be so focused on the summit that you fail to embrace the beauty of the climb. People are so focused on trying to achieve these things that they overlook the true value and the satisfaction in the process getting there. And then Brickman and Campbell, 1971, Brickman and Campbell stated what they call the hedonic treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The hedonic treadmill is that there's a baseline level of happiness, right? A baseline level of happiness. And then we try to achieve these things in life. And once we go through our process, and once we achieve those things, Kamal, it's not as satisfying as we thought it was going to be.
Mm-mm.
And because of that, we drop back down to a baseline level of happiness. And then we go after the next thing that we want to achieve. And it's not as satisfying as we thought it was going to be. And then we drop back down to a baseline level of happiness. And what Brickman and Campbell says is that then becomes a cycle, right? And we end up being stuck on the hedonic treadmill because we have this series of peaks and valleys in life.
Right.
Right? Because we don't understand that the true value and where we need to seek satisfaction is in the process to get to that thing.
Right.
Right? The process has value. It's where we build resilience, right? The process is where we learn how to be flexible. The process is where we learn how to make adjustments. The process is where the real learning that takes place. The process is where you actually become.
Correct. 100%.
You know what I mean? It's where you become, man. So, but we overlook it because people are so extrinsically motivated. Because I deal with that piece as well. I talk about people that are just so extrinsically motivated. They got to have all of this flashy stuff. They got to have they got to have the car that's associated with reaching a certain status quo. They got to have the watch. They got to have, all this money. They have to have all of these things. It's all extrinsic, but extrinsic motivation is short-lived.
100%.
Right? Extrinsic motivation, we need to become more intrinsic. We have to learn how to find the value from the inside out, not from the outside in.
Yeah.
And so that's my personal focus, and that's what I try to help people focus. And so the process is the prize. The second pillar in relentless consistency, Kamal, and I'm just giving you like this little short master class. The second pillar is the compound effect of showing up. So you understand finances. And you
100%.
understand that if I invest $50 a month into this IRA, this Fidelity account, and I'm getting 10% a year, well, at the end of 30 years, I end up with a much larger sum than I've actually invested.
Because it grew off of interest.
That's it. But life is the same way.
It's about what you invest into life. 100%. But people don't want to invest.
They
They
don't want to
want it all
invest.
now.
You know why they don't want to invest? Because it's just like that $50 that we invest every month into that investment account. We don't see it. There's no applause. Ain't no pat on the back. Right? That little
Right.
$50, it's like that they on nobody's radar.
Right. But
You
that's the
know,
perfect thing about it that they don't understand. If it's not on your radar, you're not looking to use it or spend it or anything like that. You just let it grow. You let
you
it
let
do
it
what it
grow.
needs to do. So then for the future, you'll be all right.
But you still make the investment because you know at any minute now it's gonna pay
Mm-hmm.
off. And life
100%.
is the same way. And so when you show up, Kamal, every time you show up, and every time you show up, and every time, all those small investments eventually compound, and there's this exponential leap in your life that happens.
100%.
You know, as a child, and you can understand this, but as a child with ADHD, if you go back and talk to my sixth grade teacher, Miss Moore would tell you that, oh, Andre Davis, he might do 2 years of community college at best.
Right? They
And
always
Miss Moore's still alive. So I am going, and my mother knows her. I'm going to see her because I want her to know that I continue to make that investment. I was in summer school from the summer of my sixth grade year to the second semester of my first year of college.
and look how I helped you.
Now, here's the thing people got to realize. I didn't get smarter, Kamal.
You just outworked people. You
I
did
made the
things
investment.
you did things that people didn't want to do for themselves. And that's what furthers your education. It helped you along with being successful. It helped you along with your career. It's not what I didn't do, but it's what I did do
What
with
I
my
did
time.
do, I didn't get the pat on the backs.
I didn't need that.
What I was doing was in the dark. It was behind the scenes. Nobody
But
saw it.
no mega
Nobody
men
was
know how to
there in
work
summer
behind the
school.
scenes.
They weren't there in summer school every summer with me. They weren't at the tutoring sessions that I had to attend. They weren't in the study halls. They weren't with me when I was making those investments.
But then when you're on the scene or as someone see you in your career field or anything, they're asking how or why him. But then they didn't see none of the work that you put in behind closed doors.
Now, all the people I went to school with,
Mm-hmm.
none of them, maybe a couple,
Mm-hmm.
have doctorate degrees. Nobody else has it. So now they're looking at me,
And they had the same opportunity.
same opportunity. And they don't realize that exponential leap didn't happen overnight.
Happened gradually, but you
It
continue to
did.
put the work in.
I showed up, come on.
All you gotta
And
do.
that's where the compound effect of showing up plays a role. Because when you show up and you do what's necessary, regardless of whether you're being acknowledged for it or not, and you continue to make that investment, right? Because for a long time, man, I just felt like I had curated this whole list of finish lines.
Mm-hmm.
And that it became very frustrating because I'm like, man, I did this, I did that, but it was because I didn't find satisfaction in the process, but I continued to make the investment. I continued to show up. And because I continued to show up, now the person who had ADHD, the one who had all the learning labels, now has 4 college degrees and, man, probably 3 or 4 different certifications at this point,
And you did well for
right?
yourself.
So the compound effect of showing up. Here's the third pillar in relentless consistency deals with find your field and channel your energy. Now the field for me was football. That's what paid for my education, right? At 2 different colleges.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Football for me gave me a chance to really work on my understanding of how to quiet the noise,
Okay.
right? Because you got to learn how to quiet the noise. So noise is either internal, external, or systemic, right? You got to learn how to quiet the noise. If you don't learn how to quiet the noise, then you will always be distracted. And I tell people this all the time. If you don't remember nothing else that I share with you, remember this. Protect your focus at all
All
costs.
time. Yeah.
Protect your
100%.
focus at all costs, Kamal. Don't ever let anybody disrupt, break, interrupt, stop your focus, bro. Don't let nobody stop your focus. Your focus is more important than money, and your focus is more important than time.
You preaching.
So you got to dial in and you got to protect your focus at all costs. Here's the other thing you have to do. You need to take a survey of the various activities that you do during the course of a week,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to identify where your energy is highest and where
And
your
where it
energy
was
is lowest.
lowest.
And I tell people this. I talk to so many clients, so many people who are frustrated. And then when I ask them, well, what do you do during the course of a week? When I start talking to them about their schedules and all these things, they spend more time in areas where their energy is lowest. And it's not that they can't do those things, because they're capable of doing those things. They have the capacity of doing those things. But because your energy is lowest, you're not giving it everything you got.
100%.
So identify where your energy is highest. Now, from a leadership perspective, Kamal, this is how I function. In areas where my energy is lowest, that's where I allocate human capital. I put somebody else on a project. If my energy is, it doesn't mean I can't do that thing. Oh, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
But let me get that to you because you have higher energy in that area. My energy ain't that high over here. So I'm gonna let you handle that. I'm gonna handle this over here because this is where I'm 110. Right?
Right.
So you've already found your field. You know, you're in higher education. I said in my book, I talk about my field being football. But you, whatever your field is, you better rest assured, find that field and then learn how to channel your energy. Because you want to make sure that everything that you do is not just about, you don't want to just be stuck in motion. You want to gain momentum. You don't want to just be stuck in motion. You want to actually achieve, right?
Right.
So don't mistake motion for progress, because motion ain't progress.
It's not. You can have motion and that don't mean you're going anywhere. You could
No,
be
it does
walking
not.
around it.
So
Yeah.
don't mistake motion for progress.
100%.
And here's the last pillar of relentless consistency, and then I'll tell you what the engine that drives it all. The last pillar of relentless consistency, Kamal, is the mentor matrix. If people could wrap their minds around that one pillar, because we keep chasing people to be mentors who never actually been in the
Did
places and spaces that we want to
that we
be.
want to go. And that where we want to be. And I looked at it. Another thing, I just read this somewhere, and it says the black community has a lot of mentors, but it doesn't have a lot of advisors. Someone that can advise you to be in the space that you want to be in. I can mentor you to get this college degree, but I can't mentor you to be a chancellor. I've never been a chancellor. I
Right.
can't mentor you to be a CEO. I've never been a CEO. Can't
You can
mentor
tell me
you
how to
to
make $1 million if you ain't made $1 million.
exactly. You can tell me how to make one, but you can't tell me how to make a million.
Well, but here's the thing. We keep following people in the places and spaces that they've never been in before.
100%. And that's why we keep failing.
Right.
I'm not gonna say failing, but I don't that's why we don't fully succeed in the goals that we want to obtain.
Absolutely. But there's a way to pursue someone to be a mentor. Here's what I tell people. If you want me to mentor you, you need to look at my body of work. You need to know about my body of work.
Right.
If you don't know about my body of work, then you don't want me to be your mentor. You know, you got to know what I have done. You got to know the places and spaces I've been in. You got to know what I've accomplished. right? And the only way to do that is if you research me. So if you want somebody to mentor you, one of the main things I say is research the heck out of whoever it is you want to mentor you. Now,
That's
I'm gonna get this to you because I know you already know this. We chopped it up across the text message. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for
it is
brethren
for
to
brothers
dwell
to dwell
together in
together
unity.
in unity. It's like the
Now
precious
watch
ointment
this.
upon my head.
Now let's pause. It is like
Uh-huh.
the precious ointment upon the
From the
head,
head,
which ran
it
down
ran
upon
down
the
from the
beard,
beard,
down to the
even
skirts. So
yeah.
now watch this. Whatever you and whoever you align yourself with, come on, that oil runs down.
Yeah. Okay.
And you sound like you a man of faith.
100%.
The oil runs from the head down.
Head
That's why you got to
down.
be conscious of who you follow.
That's
Because
like
what you're
spaces.
saying is if I'm following you, I'm
Uh-huh.
saying I'm open, and I'm receiving whatever rolls off of your life.
Right.
So if you're following somebody who's a homemonger, if you're following somebody who's a cheater, a liar, all these other things that you don't want to be, if you're following that person, you've aligned yourself with that person, whatever's on their life has the potential
The
to
roll down
roll
onto
down in your
you.
life because you are connected and you've aligned
So,
yourself with that individual. So
so it's like be careful.
you got to be careful. That's why in Omega, as we talk about that, what we're saying is that there's a standard
It's always a
that has been
standard.
set.
It's always a standard, especially by the undergraduate men that walk the campus of Howard University. They look for specific things in individuals. Everybody couldn't be in part of Omega.
There you go.
Doesn't matter if you had high GPAs.
It did
They were
not
looking for
matter.
something specific.
It did not matter. Do you meet the standard? Because if you meet the standard, come and align yourself with us.
100%.
That's all we were saying. That's all the founders were saying. That's all
100%.
Just Love Cooper and Coleman was saying. If you meet the
100%.
standard, align yourself with
Self
us.
with us. Yeah.
Align yourself with this standard. And so when it comes to a mentor, and there's also a protocol in mentorship that most people never even talk about. So here's the protocol in mentorship. You cannot, come on, hear me. If you don't remember nothing else, you better remember this. You cannot be a mentor if you've never been a mentee.
Woo. Woo. That's the truth. That's a true statement.
You cannot mentor someone else if you have not been mentored.
Hmm.
Period. And so these people popping up, oh, I'm a mentor, I'm a mentor. Well, who's your mentor?
And then they've never had one. Or
No,
they don't
you
even know
can't
what
mentor me. I'm
they
sorry, you
don't even
can't
know what a
mentor me.
mentor looks like.
No, you can't mentor me. So here it is. You're a mentee, you have a mentor. At some point in that relationship, Kamal, you become colleagues.
100%.
And then at some point in that relationship, Kamal, watch this, you become a mentor to your mentor.
Yes.
So the reason why that happens is not because you are greater or better than your mentor, but what your mentor knows, a lot of those things have changed. And so
Right.
there's new research, new information. And you now have that. You embody that. So now there are things that your mentor may not know about. So there's a process. That's the protocol. You go from mentee to being a colleague to then becoming a mentor. You don't come out the gate as a mentor. So that's the protocol. Mentee, colleague, mentor,
Mentor.
right? So the
Right.
mentor matrix lays out, how do I engage someone to be a mentor for me? What's that conversation like? Do I email them? Do I call them on the phone? Well, I lay all of that out. The first thing you better do is you better do your research. Because if somebody comes to me and they want me to mentor them, I'm going to ask them, what do you know about my body of work? Have you read any of I don't know how many articles I've written on that's on my
The CV.
LinkedIn page.
Okay. your
Yeah, if you go to
LinkedIn.
my LinkedIn page, you go to my newsletter. My
Mm-hmm.
newsletter, man, I grew that newsletter. It's called the Coach's Coach. I grew that newsletter from 11 to almost 800 subscribers. Now
Put in the
on
real
we
work.
ain't talk about Facebook and Instagram. If you
Nah.
got 800 people following you on LinkedIn, they know your body of work.
Yeah, I got like 750 something.
Right. But no, but I'm just dealing with just the newsletter. I ain't even talking about the followers on your
Yeah,
page.
you talking about specific news? Yeah.
Specific newsletter. These are people that know they're following you because you are informing their work, Kamal.
Okay.
That what you have to say is important to them. Right?
Right.
So the point is that if you haven't read any of those articles, I've written articles. The articles I have written are the future about the future of higher education. So you got to read those articles. You haven't read people got to read my dissertation. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
you want someone to mentor you, you got to do your research because you got to ensure that the
100%.
person that I'm saying I want to mentor me, I want to get into those places and spaces that this person has been in. And I just told you, I went from doing contract work to dean in 7 years, bro. You don't do that by accident. You don't do that because you look good. You don't do that
Because
because
of the
you wear a
work.
suit to work.
That's the work you put in.
There you go. Not only just the work, Kamal, but results.
Results.
Results,
Results
bro.
driven.
Results. And I talk about mid-level managers want to be promoted. One of the first things that supervisors
Discover
and
wisdom,
superiors look for is
perseverance, and growth.
consistency and results.
Your journey begins now.